the studios of TLC Talk Radio. It's DT on our minds. I'm your girl, Tasha.
And I'm that fat girl, Dana.
In our game show voice, I'm going to say that every episode because it's so fascinating to me. Don't forget to check us out on all social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and of course, Instagram. And catch us daily on TLCTalkRadio.com. Hey, friend.
Hey, friend.
What's happening?
Stuff.
Well, let's talk about that stuff. The stuff that's on our minds,
The
right?
stuff that's on our minds.
As referenced by the name of the show.
Things are going good. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
A few weeks.
We
had some health
stuff.
scares from Pop.
Yeah.
He decided to frighten me and Mama to death and frighten himself. But he is so good. God is so good. And he's home and he's resting. And then we did a little bit of fussing. And then more resting and more hugs and more kisses and a little bit more fussing. But he's home.
That's good.
People. I was about to say men, but that's not fair. People. If anything shifts in the way you feel normally and it goes on for more than a day, say something.
I don't do that.
All right, let me start over. Dana.
Well, the last time I was last time I saw a doctor was when I was in the emergency room.
Because your horse was trying to beat you up for a minute.
No, I just fell off.
No, I think
She didn't do nothing.
Oh, I'm kidding.
She was a good girl.
No.
Oh.
Okay, but
She's so cute.
so do you have moments? Maybe you haven't gone because nothing has happened. Let's go with that.
Let's go with that. See, I feel that I don't really need to see a doctor unless
Do you go get like annual physicals?
No. I haven't seen a doctor, like a regular doctor, in I don't know,
Eye
10
doctor,
years.
ENT.
Nope.
Okay. I mean,
I've been healthy. What do I need to go for?
I mean,
So they
just
can
to
put me on-
ensure that you're
But
healthy.
I'm fine.
Okay. Because you went to medical school and didn't tell anybody.
Well,
You and my mother. Because
I'm fine.
she just told me that she was feeling something strange. And I said, okay, well, let's go to the doctor. I'm taking care of my husband.
Oh.
Well, see, that's the point, Pooh. If you don't check out you.
That's going to get harder.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I don't have that situation. I'm good.
All right. I can't make you. You're grown.
I know. Well, I mean, if something really was wrong,
Okay.
I would go.
Well, that's good to know. You wouldn't be trying to walk off like, fainting. I'm okay.
Right. It's like, I got this pain here. I've had it for a while.
Yeah. Daddy was experiencing shortness of breath.
Oh.
And he thought, and it was a legitimate thought, he thought it was because he had not been to the gym in a while. So my dad is 79. He works out 3 days a week. And he bowls twice a week. All that fun stuff. So because his car had been down and he wasn't rushing to pay for Infinity repairs, I'm with it. He had not gone for a few weeks. And so he just felt like, I'm
fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
And thankfully, he did say something to my mother, and then it got a little bit worse, and they went to the emergency room. And mother was wise in calling me after she had information.
Yeah.
So, which is what she doesn't like me to do. Like, she wants every, update,
Right.
minute by minute, blow by blow. And I'm like, I don't have anything to share yet. Hold tight.
I'll call you when I'm ready.
Right. As they say, more updates more news as updates warrant.
Right.
So there was nothing to share until she had gotten him to the hospital, and they decided to keep him. And so for 13 days, they were making sure he was good because,
Wow. I didn't realize it was 13 days.
If he had stayed, he came home last Sunday. If he had stayed till Monday, that would have been the full 2 weeks. So,
Wow.
yeah. If you wouldn't scare us anymore, Pop.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Not to do that.
Absolutely don't do that. So, yeah. That's why we haven't really recorded.
Yeah. That'd be a good reason.
Yeah, that's yeah. And I was trying to push it. I'm like, we could still, but it was bananas. When someone is in the hospital and you're that person getting all information. It's like my students knew that when the phone rang, absolutely shut your mouth. I'm talking to doctors, I'm running every day, and it turned into a cycle. But it's, the same thing your parents do for you when you're little.
Right.
They're just running around and making sure you're good. And so I was fine with it, but I realized how tired I was Saturday night. I was like, what are we talking about? What are we doing?
Am I at home?
I was not. I was friends to kind of shift, from being in the hospital every day. But at the end, I was like, what y'all talking about? It's time for us to go.
Yeah. And then we were supposed to record last week, or was it the week before?
Last week. It was last week.
And I had a job interview that I thought was on Wednesday. It was actually on Thursday.
Well, tell us about it. How'd it go?
I think I was amazing.
I mean, that's par for the course, isn't it?
Yes. I am amazing.
I'm with this.
But I did not get the job, however.
Okay.
And I think the reason why is because of my availability.
Okay.
So, for people who are posting jobs, might want to explain what the hours actually are.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
So that you're clear and no one is wasting anyone's time. We're not wasting yours. You're not wasting mine.
And I figured my availability was pretty good from 3 p.m. till 1 a.m. I think that's pretty...
Yeah, it's a lot of hours.
But it was for operations, so unloading trucks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And apparently their hours are in the morning. Well, again, had you put...
Right, we need you for this availability.
I wouldn't apply for that job.
We've wasted a bunch of time.
I would your other job. But yeah. So, but here's the funny part. Okay. So this job interview was a group interview.
Okay.
I could have been all the other candidates' mother because 3 of them were in high school.
Okay.
And 1 had just graduated.
Wow. And so you were all there together?
Yes, we were all there together. And
how many interviewers were there?
Just 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you ever done a group interview? It's weird.
I've done it where there were multiple people interviewing.
Oh, yeah.
Versus multiple candidates. Now, I did do something similar for a similar position, making some Christmas money. However, at this point, it was no longer an interview. It was just kind of, this is what we're doing. Do you want to do it?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this was an actual interview. And it was weird because, none of them had any experience in anything. And so every time they would ask a question and it would come to me, I'm like, well, I have a different take on that situation.
Right. Because you have some experience that's different than what they would have had already.
I've worked with people before. You really haven't. Sorry. I mean, even if you had a part-time job at some point,
it's not quite. It's not the depth of experience.
Not the 30 years that I've had in the workplace. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So I thought it went really well, and I think the only reason I didn't get it is because of the hours.
So what hours did they want? You were available from 3 p.m. until 1 a.m.
Yeah. Apparently their truck comes in the morning, so I'm not helpful. And again, would have been nice to know your schedule needed to be done.
Efficiency is an art that not everybody has mastered. We could have skipped all these steps. Not that you skip steps to be lazy, but it just doesn't make sense. If you tell me,
I cancel my recording of the podcast for a job that I was never going to get because I don't work those hours. Mm-hmm. That didn't make any sense to me.
Absolutely. I had a similar, well, it wasn't similar, but I was going through a temp agency and I ended up working for the Chicago Police Department, coming in through that agency. And they shifted my hours to where I got off at midnight. And I was 17. So I was a freshman in college, but I was 17 because of when my birthday fell.
Right.
And the lady was like, I didn't know you were 17. I said, you didn't when I handed you my ID?
Right.
And you made a copy of it? And I wrote the year I was born. As a 17-year-old, I was frustrated. Just
because you're not even supposed to be able to work past 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
Hello.
Yeah. So it took the person I reported to at the police station back when it was on 12th and was that Michigan, 18th in Michigan? I don't know. 12th Michigan.
I had the slightest idea.
It was downtown. And she was like, well, we didn't know you were 17. Again,
how did
my
you not know?
birthday is right.
I mean, now
here.
You don't really know because they can't ask for your date of birth on job applications anymore.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't. So, I mean, they know if you're a minor or not, usually.
Not the way some of these kids are built.
Well, I know. But, like, if you're 18 or over.
Sure.
Or 18 and under, you have to mark that. But it doesn't say
your age. Okay.
Exactly your age.
But even at some point, you've seen my ID because you have to verify who I am.
Right.
You have to, and it's like, okay, for real, I need people to be a little more diligent. And I get it. We're all swamped.
Right,
I get it. But yeah.
Hello. Can we just a little bit of paying attention?
A little bit of paying attention. And then you can be kind about, oh, I'm sorry I missed that, versus, well, you didn't tell me you were, well, I didn't think I needed to because you asked for my ID with my birthday on it. I assumed you could read. My fault.
Me assuming you could read.
Listen, time is, it's funny you mentioned time. So I had some crazy instances with time in the last couple of weeks. So in the middle of Pop being in the hospital, I was trying to get something done at my church, and I contracted a guy, won't even say the name of the group I pulled him from, because the group in and of itself is wonderful, but I don't want it to leave a sour taste in people's mouths. But, he was supposed to be at this space. He's supposed to meet me at the church, and I explained to him, I said, does this time work? And he was like, well, such and such, such and such. And what he was doing was he was reinforcing the stand that we stand on at church, because the sound is now improved, which means the Facebook shot shakes.
Oh.
So it's a metal piece with a piece of plywood on the top. It looks good, but it doesn't, and even if we shift, even just step to the side, it shakes the shot. It's fine for our camera. Our camera doesn't move, but when we're operating the Facebook feed, that's janky. So he was supposed to be there at a certain time, and then I get there and he's not there, and he's like, oh, I'm on my way, and I'm sorry, I'm coming. He's like, I'll be there. He said, I'm running a little late. I'll be there after 4. I was like, but we said 4 because I said this was supposed to be me. You were supposed to be done, and I was supposed to run in, test, and leave. Right. And he was really nice at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like he was never, because I gave him the information to the station, so he might be listening. Hey, he was really nice. But this is what threw me off. So in the time he said, well, I'll be there after 4. I said, well, see, that's not what we talked about. I'm going back through my text to make sure that it wasn't me, because I'm not infallible. Right. So I said, well, no, that's not what you said. You said you were going to be done at this time. So literally I can come in, make the test. I wanted to amp the sound up to see if it shook. Right. Because in being courteous, I wanted to ensure that he wouldn't have to come back. Right. So I said, let's get there at the same time. And he said that worked. So he said, well, I'll be there a little after 4. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean 4:02? Does that mean 4:15? Does that mean tomorrow at 4? What does that mean? Right. And he was like 4:30. So now I'm peed because I could have gone to see my dad first. Right. And now I'm about to miss this brand new Bible study class that had just started. So I got an attitude on a couple levels, but I'm never, I'm never disrespectful. That's unnecessary. Right. And I try to understand that everybody, has things to work on. Right. I do. So, okay, let's just get it together. Right. So he came, and he said to his partner, he said, well, let me go make this walk to get this wood. What? So I said, huh? I gotta go get the wood.
Why didn't you bring the wood in?
See how your brain works?
Like, you thought you weren't gonna use wood?
So I think he stopped by to greet his employee, versus, but I'm like, just don't, you this late, just go get the wood first.
Right.
He must have had wood or lived up the street. And so when he came, he's looking, I gave him the place where they could cut it, because obviously it needs to be cut to match.
Right.
And I looked at the wood and it was used. Sir,
repurposing.
That's fine, but you charged me a price, and
it was not repurposed price.
It was not repurposed price, nor did you say that when I sent the deposit. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, why you do that? And so I was like, this is not gonna work. And he was like, well, it'll do the same thing. Nobody's even gonna see it. Sir, I saw it, and pastor's gonna kill everybody if you know what I'm saying. Like, that's not. And so a little bit about pastor's background is he worked in procurement. This is not going to fly.
Probably not.
No. For top companies in procurement. Mm-hmm. So what he's not going to do is give less than to his congregation and his media team. Mm-hmm. So he was like, tell him I said. I was like, yeah, Pastor, not. That's fine. But then it was another day of hemming and hawing and whatever. And at the end, it was, I guess, because of according to the guy I was dealing with, the guy he was trying to help out, somebody he brought on to, and he could just never get the time together. He initiated. He said, I'm going to give you your money back because, and I appreciated that, but it was like, what about my time? Like, I explained to y'all that my dad was in the hospital, so I'm already like on edge. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to get this done because I might need to be out and my team needs to stand on this thing, and I don't need them falling through it and then having splinters. Lots of horrible splinters and torn up legs. Yeah. It's not going to work. Not for anybody. But I was always kind. I was always respectful, and I wouldn't completely rule him out again, because again, all right, everybody got something. I'll give you another opportunity. And he asked me for one. I don't have any projects or anything coming up, but
I would like a gazebo in my backyard.
Oh no, that's my mother would like a gazebo in my backyard, and she'd be like, well, I guess we're coming out here forever. What? You can't live in the gazebo. She would take
over that patio place. Yeah,
that'd be nice. That's where we dance, though.
I know, but gazebo.
We'll see.
Or sunroom.
Sunroom.
So you can use it during the winter.
I never leave my room until people come over. That's horrible.
Yeah, but you have a lot of people come over.
A lot.
So, yeah. Extra room in the winter.
I'll consider it, because here lately my money has been telling lots of jokes. It's funny.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
We do what we do.
That's why I had the job interview that went nowhere.
Absolutely. I get it.
Please subscribe to all of our social media.
Yeah.
And
everything.
And everything.
We were talking earlier about being kind, and I was saying when you came and rang the bell that I love Ellen so much. She had been in the news recently. She went to a game. Don't ask me the sport. I'm horrible. But she was sitting with...
I don't remember what it was either.
She was sitting with former President George W. Bush, and people were upset. She had a lot of backlash because they were like, well, he, was anti-gay marriage, and how could you be friends with him? And I only caught a snippet, but the piece that I heard stood out. She said, when I say be kind, I'm not saying be kind to just the people you agree with. And I was like, and Ellen for the win, because I can disagree with you.
Right.
And I can be kind, like, people can't stand our current president. Okay. I'm disinterested. I don't know if that's bad. But if I met him.
It is bad.
I'm just kind of like, y'all get on my nerves. Everybody gets on my nerves. So I'm not, I don't have this emotional response.
Right. And that's one of the reasons we don't actually talk about it on the show.
Because I'd be like, all right.
Because I'm all emotional response, and it'll just be ugly.
Right. See, you just see me slowly slide out of the frame and go get her some water.
This is just editorial from Dana.
Right. And don't get me wrong, there's much effery to go around. But if I saw him on the street, I'm not, I don't have a bag of rocks that I'm ready to slug at him. You know what I mean? Like, I can be respectful and still completely disagree with you and still think you're a clown without insulting you, because it's unnecessary. Like, okay.
Like,
all right then. I think
unfortunate that we have to share the same air, but okay.
Like, it is what it is, So I just think it's so important to be kind, and particularly with, for me, with Dad being in the hospital, that's just kind of a creed that most of the family lives by. I said most of the family lives by, and because you always have the one-offs, and you're like, who raised you? This is not what Granny taught us, or not even what your parents taught you. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But I was just humbled by the kindness. And so for me, one of the things that one of my uncles told me, he said, you know what I love about you? And I said, that I'm fabulous, Tasha. He was like, yeah, that. And that you show up when it counts. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he told me this years ago. He said that, because what was happening was we had a lot of death in the family around that time. And he said, you so to speak, give your flowers when people are here. So you're not the one trying to jump in the grave and scream and, oh my God, Lord, Jesus, bring them back. No, I spent my quality time, before people leave, because I'm clear that people have expiration dates.
Right.
And they're not printed on their backs.
Right.
So you don't know when that's happening. So I'm not one to hold a grudge. I'm not, unless you hurt a kid. Then, or old people, then all right, I might get some grudge holding. But outside of that, generally I'm not holding a grudge. It's like, okay, it is what it is. So because I don't want to be the person with regrets. Typically when you see people clowning at or after funerals, they have some internal struggle going on, and they know now it's too late to resolve it. And so now everybody is snapping off and acting a fool.
So that reminds me of a picture I saw on Facebook. Was yesterday, I think. So it's a picture of a woman. The coffin is like being lowered into the ground. Like it's probably about 2-3 feet. She's sitting on the coffin, and someone snapping a picture of her for her Instagram. You need to stop. You need to stop.
Seriously?
Seriously. See, I find it creepy when people take pictures of the body.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not a fan of that.
No, and my grandmother had a bunch of those. I'm going through the family history, and I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, it was a big thing, like, really back in the day. Like, they would pose people, and they were, like, with babies that passed and stuff. Oh, no thank you. Yeah.
Listen.
It's real macabre.
I can't even watch Thriller. Y'all tripping.
Oh, yeah. It's a thing. I don't want to see these pictures.
Don't do that to me, y'all.
I'm not really interested, but I've seen it, and I'm like...
That's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't want to live with any regrets.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not, that doesn't, boo.
At this point, I don't really think I have too many. Like... I think I've been a pretty decent human being.
Sure.
I'm not perfect.
Nobody is.
But I think I give enough of myself to people. Okay. Without severely being damaged.
Yeah, because you have to erect boundaries.
Yeah, because if you don't, you're a mess.
Hot mess.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want. And that's the thing. You can't be of service to anyone else if you're not taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I try to do what I can and be, make the time you spend with the people you care about meaningful. Like, I was crying. I didn't think, Pop was going anywhere, but I was crying at I want him to come home. Just please, God, bring him back home. I knew he was, but I was like, he was nervous, and me and Mom was nervous. And as a child, even though I'm grown, you hate to see your parents uncertain or sad, or it's like, don't cry, mommy,
Yeah.
which of course sets everybody off.
Right.
So yeah, it's just like, okay, let me, so I guess the message I'm trying to share with people, is to think about what could happen if you couldn't fix it. I have 2 friends who hate each other. I'm not in it. Whatever. This is how y'all choose to roll. But one of them asked me, what do you think? And I said, if you're okay with something happening to her permanently, and you didn't have the opportunity to fix it, you're okay with living with that? All right, then don't say nothing. But if you think that would hurt even a little bit, try to fix it. That doesn't mean y'all resume friendship.
Right.
It could mean, you know what, I'm officially letting this go. I'm not angry with you anymore. That's okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
do you even remember what it was that ticked you off?
Oh yeah, it was big. But
okay. Never mind.
But the point is, it's not worth it. And with all of us having lost someone suddenly, that's just not a spot I want to be in.
Right.
A guy I used to date has a sister, and she told me this story, and she said, my dad he made me angry, whatever dad did, I don't remember the infraction, but she was so angry she wouldn't talk to him, and he was calling and he was trying to fix it, and she would not take his call, she wouldn't talk to him, again, forgetting that you don't know the expiration date.
Right.
And unfortunately, he died at work, just had a heart attack, massive. They said he was gone before he hit the ground.
Wow.
She got that call.
Oh.
And so now you think about, damn, he was trying to fix it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Listen, now if you like abusing my mama, abusing my kids, that's something very different.
Right.
But this was fixable, according to her. Again, she said that she was being foolish. I don't remember, and I didn't know them at the time. But that story always stood out to me. And so I'm the kind of person who doesn't have to, you don't have to tell me, I don't have to get hit by the bus for you to tell me it's a lot of traffic outside. Like, right. You said it's I'm going to be back here. You know what I mean? So I can get the lesson by watching you.
Exactly.
So I'm good. But yeah, that always stood out to me. So be kind.
So, on that vein with dads, my daughter hasn't really had much of a relationship with her dad, and it's not because of me.
Of course.
I know everyone's like, oh, well, you kept her away. I was like, no, I did not. It had nothing to do with me. Their relationship was their relationship. I had a great relationship with my dad. He lived, 300 miles away, and we had an amazing relationship.
Yay.
We did. And then, I wanted the same for my daughter, but that just wasn't in the cards. So she had something she really needed to tell him a couple of weeks ago, and in that course of that conversation, she said, you know what? My depression was based on the fact that I grew up without a dad. And he was like, oh. Like,
it was news to him, huh?
Yeah, kind of. He's not a horrible human being.
Sure.
He just doesn't really understand human relationships that well.
Okay.
I don't know how else to explain that. Like, he's very intelligent, but he's more book smart than he is common sense smart. And that's, I have a lot of those people in my life.
Sure.
I really do. But that started fixing that relationship, and I'm grateful for that. Sure. Because I lost my dad, but I had a great like you have a great relationship with your dad. So I felt that, if she never fixed that was going to be in her life forever.
Sure.
So he's been coming like almost every Sunday, and they spend time together.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, it's good.
I think that was the post positive.
I know, right?
Yeah. I'll save my story for next episode. But it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And before we sign off, I do want to encourage everyone to have their boobies checked. Yay. Men too. Because, yeah, you too. And on that vein,
I probably won't. But, you know.
you're not going to go.
I don't go to the doctor.
I'm just going to move on then. From the studios of TLC Talk Radio, this has been DT on Our Minds. I'm your girl, Tasha.
And I'm that fat girl, Dana.
Who refuses to get her boobies checked, but we'll talk
or
about that
anything
later.
Else.
Yeah, particularly that. Don't forget to catch us on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, Instagram. And catch us every day, multiple times a day on TLCTalkRadio.com. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.